Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's episode, which is doing a fun review of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 2, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's dive right on in. Oh, and don't forget to also shop our Soft Girl collection. Everything is linked down below. Grab a hoodie, grab a tote, grab a manifestation journal. We got some good stuff. So with that, let's dive right on in. So let's first talk about the episode itself, okay? So the episode itself was a bit of a snooze fest, but since it's only episode 2, the Real Housewives tend to do this. Episode 1 may be a little bit more of a banger, and then episode 2 to 3 are these sort of like setup episodes where they set you up for the storylines, for the feuds, for the trajectory of everybody's story for the rest of the season. So this was definitely one of those episodes that was setting us up for the rest of the season. So it's setting us up for Karen versus Mia. Will their friendship survive Mia's betrayal against Karen? It's setting us up for, is Mia getting divorced from Gordon? Is Gordon going to be, proven that he did commit fraud and embezzlement? What's going to happen to their marriage? What's going to be the state of their financial affairs? It's also setting up Robin versus Jazelle versus the group, because when it comes to, Robin's intervention and holding her accountable and getting the truth about Juan, it's twofold. It's one, Robin versus the group in the whole of the ladies who are like, you were saying all the stuff about me and my man and my marriage and all that stuff to deflect. And then the group, as well as the other ladies, more like the Ashleys, that are like, we're here for you, Robin. Just tell us the truth. So there's that dynamic of Robin versus the group as a whole. And then there's also the more myopic or the more micro issue going on between Robin and Jazelle in particular, because they have always been on their own island. They've always been their own, dangerous duo, green-eyed bandits. So it's also interesting to see what's going to happen between Jazelle versus Robin, because right now, yes, they're friends, but there's clearly a disconnect. There's clearly a divide. There's clearly something going on there with Jazelle trying to save her paycheck and trying to save her spot on the show. I do think the producers put her on notice and was like, if you do not come for Robin and this Juan story after your whole Patreon stunt, you might be looking for a new job, just like your green-eyed bandit friend next season, right? So I think there's a bit of that going on. It's also setting up Candice and Chris. Is their marriage in trouble? Is he cheating? What's going on there? Because as we saw in episode 1, they were talking about not spending time together and how there was like a disconnect, and she's spending all this money on the tour and was kind of checked out a bit and still kind of reeling from all of the false accusations of being, sexually inappropriate towards Ashley and towards Jazelle. All of those false allegations, I'm sure he's still hurt by that and is still reeling from that, which is why we didn't even see him in this episode. I was like, where's Chris? He wasn't even seen. It's also setting up the dynamic of Nneka versus Wendy. It is very clear that these two women are being pitted against each other from jump. That is very clear. Nneka is coming with the smoke in the confessional. Wendy is basically like, I met her in passing. And then Ashley brings the bone. And I'm going to talk about Ashley bringing the bone because I think there's a couple of things going on with that. And I want to know what you guys think. I want to see if you guys saw what I saw in that scene with Ashley and Wendy talking about what Nneka said about Wendy's family. Okay. And then obviously it's setting up Ashley's shady separation from Michael. They're not divorced. She has the house. What's going on with him? I don't think we're going to see Michael. I don't think he's going to make a special appearance. And then also in this episode, our conspiracy theories got confirmed. No shocker there. And I will talk about it when we get to Ashley's slide about our conspiracy theories about Michael being confirmed. Okay. So let's go. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all my candy canes. Let's, grab a snack and get ready to dive in. So let's start with Karen. So Karen, to me, she is always that girl. I love her. I always have my favorites. Everybody has their favorites. You guys have their favorites. For me, Karen is one of my favorites on Potomac. I love her. She's just that girl. I love the shade she's giving to Mia about resetting their friendship. I think that's great. She's like, no, you're an acquaintance, boo-boo. You can't hug me. You can't get access. We can shake hands. Because Mia was dead wrong for what she did to Karen last season. Karen was by her side. She held her down when the other women were clowning her, saying that Mia was lying about cancer. She was lying about her age. She was lying about her body. She was lying about her marriage, saying that she was doing this, that, and the third. Karen held her down. And then for Mia to want to be a pick-me and join the Green-Eyed Bandits and Dusty Charisse of all people and try to say that Karen was cheating on Ray was horrible. Horrible. You don't do that. Like Karen said, you broke girl code. If you hear a rumor or if you're worried about my marriage or you think I'm cheating, you come to me privately on the side because I don't have a beef with you. Like, the only reason why Mia threw Karen under the bus was because she was trying to get brownie points with the Green-Eyed Bandits and Charisse. And probably Ashley too. And that to me is just so gross and disgusting. Like, don't stab the one person on the cast that actually had your back in the back because you want to be cool with people who don't like you. Don't get it twisted. Just because Mia has light skin, I don't want to get on the color issue. They don't like Mia. They don't want to be friends with Mia. They don't respect Mia. They're not nice to Mia. No, they're not. No, they're not. Again, that's why I don't think it's colorism, but let's not even go there. Let's keep it light, cans. They don't rock with Mia. They think that she's a fraud. They think that, she slept to get to where she is. They were calling her a stripper. They were calling her a lady of the night. They were saying she was having sex with her friend. They just dogged Mia all the way out. And Mia still has such low self-esteem and really wants validation from the cool girls that she was willing to stab Karen in the back in order to get that position, which she'll never have. Because when somebody doesn't like you, they will smile in your face while stabbing you in your back. They don't like you, Mia, and they never will. You're never going to be a part of their actual group. They will tolerate you and they will use you, but Jazelle doesn't like you. Ashley doesn't like you. Robin doesn't like you. Charisse is probably indifferent to you because she probably has her own weird stuff going on. You picked the wrong team. You picked the wrong team. Okay. Now, Karen is, of course, she's always playing chess, and she's very smart to keep Mia close enough. Like, she accepts the apology. She's, quote, shaking the hands. And she's smart to keep Mia in a place where she's making it clear, Mia, you have to prove that you're my friend to win my friendship back, to get the trust back, but without actually trusting her. So it's a very weird place, and I think a very strategic place to have someone think that they have to prove their worthiness to you and their friendship to you and their trust to you, because then Mia might, spill the tea, spill secrets, be a spy for Karen to get back in Karen's good graces if Mia has any, sense in her head, which I don't think she does, but if she did. So I think Karen is playing it smart. She didn't take Mia back wholeheartedly all at once. She's keeping her at bay a little bit, but she's not doing the misstep that a lot of housewives do. For example, like a Meredith Marks, where you hold the grudge too hard and too long, where you are now looking crazy like the bad guy, where it's like you are the person who was slighted, but you held the grudge a little bit too hard and a little bit too long, where now you're looking crazy. So I think Karen held the grudge for the perfect amount of time, so that Karen is still the victim of her being backstabbed, but she's also on the high road where she accepted the apology. She's going to see how it goes, and she's let the grudge go, but she's keeping her at bay. And that's how you do it. You hold a grudge for like 1 to 2.5 to 2 episodes tops, but then you got to let it go. or else you're going to turn out like Meredith Marks, right? And you don't want that. Now, Karen is about to be 60. She looks fabulous. Just want to give her a shout out for that. Absolutely looking fabulous. And then I wonder if it's going to be another season of Karen versus Charisse, right? There was still some awkwardness between them at Ashley's housewarming party. Charisse, to me, I don't know why they keep trying to make her happen on the show. Like, I'm confused. I don't get it. I don't get it. At this point, I feel so bad for Charisse. I don't even like want to say anything bad about her because I just feel like what is so missing in your life that like this is what you feel you have to, put yourself through. Basically being, like furniture at these places. Yikes. Okay, now let's move on to Messy Mia. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this with Karen's slide, but Mia was super messy and dead wrong for backstabbing Karen and all those cheating rumors. And then beyond that, and I said this before, and I stand by this, I love Gordon. I do. I think Gordon is a vibe. I love it when he gets like old creepy man and he becomes G. Like, I like Gordon. I think he's a vibe. I think he's a fun time. And I feel really bad for him. I think he's super depressed. I think he's very sad about everything going on with his marriage, about things going on in his finances, things going on in his business, his brothers turning on him. Because again, I need to know, did Gordon actually commit fraud and embezzle? Or is his brothers just being haters and trying to take him down a peg or two? Because family can sometimes be your worst enemy. When they see you winning, when they see you excelling, they can do things to try and take you down. I don't know yet. I need more facts. I need court documents. I need depositions. I need receipts. I need to know. Because from episode 1, it seemed like Gordon was the one who was going to sue his family. You would think if Gordon was the one committing the fraud, that his brothers would be suing him. I know that they iced him out, but you could be the one that's doing the wrong and find loopholes to ice people out of money that they rightfully have. Maybe I just have a soft spot for Gordon, but there's a part of me that I need more information about this. Because he was saying that he wanted to sue them. So, and I mean, it's sad, but if we're being honest, sometimes your family members can be your worst enemies. They can be the people who are the most jealous of you, the people who want to take you down the most. So I need more information. Like I need documents, okay? I need documents. I need to do a Candy deep dive into this because I need more information. But where I say, Mia, I can't stand you. I cannot stand you because you had the audacity to get your lady of the night self up there. And I'm obviously not being disrespectful to ladies of the night. You guys know how I feel about that. I think it should be legalized. And I think that people who are sex workers should be protected. So I'm not disrespecting them. I'm disrespecting Mia. To say that you are defending Jazelle on Jazelle's behalf when she said at the reunion about your husband embezzling funds because you thought the same thing. And Karen, this is why I love Karen. Me and Karen are the same. Me and Karen are the same because Karen was shook. She was like, what? I didn't expect you to say that. Why in the hell would Mia be defending Jazelle for saying that her husband is committing fraud? And then have the audacity to say that she thought that he was committing fraud too and that she wasn't sure? It was crazy to me. And her energy was like she still wasn't sure if her husband was committing fraud and embezzling and if he was innocent or not. That was her energy. Like, well, I still don't know if he is or he isn't. Girl, bye. This is the thing. If she truly was unsure if Gordon was committing fraud or embezzlement or not, in public, you support your husband. In private, you ask all of the questions, okay? You ask all the questions. You get all the information. But in public, you need to hold him down until it is proven without a shadow of a doubt that he really did commit embezzlement, that he really did commit fraud. And then you publicly say, my husband was embezzling and committing fraud. I had no idea. And now we're separating. At least pretend. At least take a note from freaking Erica Jane Girardi. She was holding Tom Girardi down, and she still is holding his fraudulent self down. And everybody in the world know Tom is guilty as hell for fraud. And Erica is still holding him all the way down, lying for him, pretending things, still doing lawsuits, appealing lawsuits for earrings and, embezzling money from Wells Fargo and doing fake press releases. Erica is doing everything in her power to still protect Tom and herself and her assets. And Mia is up here defending Jazelle. Mia, shut up. If I had any ounce of any type of compassion or understanding or respect for you, you lost it. Because I don't care what you say about Gordon, he clearly really loves you. And he clearly was holding you down and taking care of you and your family. Not that men should get kudos for doing what they should do. You should hold down your family. You should take care of your wife. You should be respectful to her. You should take care of your kids. I totally get that. I'm not giving him kudos for what someone should just do as a husband or a father. But I do think it's important in how she's now treating him, throwing him under the bus, defending nasty Jazelle, who has talked about everybody's man and has tried to destroy everybody's marriage. She had Chris and Candice fighting for 2 seasons. The first season was because she was clowning him, saying he's the husbandager and does he have a job and he's living off of Candice's mom's money. And then Candice, with her stupid self, went and was like, Chris, this is what Jazelle is saying. And, blah, blah, blah. Again, not defending her husband. And now look at the state of Chris and Candice's marriage. I think that's on very thin ice. And then last season, lying on Chris, Then she tried to destroy Karen and Ray, tried to destroy Ashley and Michael. Systematically, she's gone for everybody's relationship. And Mia, with your stupid self, and I don't want to be mean, but with your ding-dong self, is up here defending her instead of your husband. And then in episode 1, Gordon is clearly going through depression. And you're trying to shame him, being like, I was yelling at you to get off the couch. He's on the couch day after day, hour after hour, because he's depressed. Not because he's lazy. He's clearly not lazy. He's depressed. And when people are depressed, they don't have the motivation. They don't have the energy. They don't have the creativity. They don't have the drive because they're going through it. And instead of holding down your man, you have the audacity to be out here trying to shame him for where he's at mentally, which is another reason why I think his family is doing him dirty. I don't know. Again, I don't have the receipts on this. This is just a gut feeling. I think Gordon's family is doing him dirty. I think if there's anything shady going on at the practices, I think they were all in on it, whether it was like insurance stuff or I don't know, kickbacks or paybacks, I think if their chiropractic, the joint, franchise were making money in a shady way, I think the entire family knew and the entire family were in on it. And I think his brothers got green eyes in themselves. They got jealous. And then they tried to take Gordon out of the business. That is what my gut is telling me. I don't think that Gordon was stealing from his family by himself. If there was any type of scheme or scam, I think the entire family in the family business was in on the family scam of it all. I think Gordon feels betrayed by his family. I think he feels abandoned by his wife. And I think that he is depressed. That is what my gut says. I could be wrong. But that is what my gut is saying. I like G. I have a soft spot for him. And I think that Mia is just dead wrong and horrible. And I hope Gordon divorces you and takes the kids and leaves you by yourself. because you're horrible. Okay. Now, blaming her violent behavior on mixing pills and alcohol. This is an excuse as old as Erica Jane. I'm cussing kids out. I'm hitting people with my purses. I'm tossing drinks. I'm being evil and mean because I'm popping pills and alcohol. Well, this is the thing. Maybe you are popping pills and taking alcohol. Not an excuse. Not an excuse. You are still liable for your actions. Not an excuse. You're liable for it, but they love to say it. And you're not drinking. Wine is alcohol. You're just trying to not take accountability for your own violent and toxic behavior. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, take accountability for your own actions and for your own behavior. You're sloppy, you're messy, you're violent, you're disrespectful to your husband, and you're a backstabber to your friends like Karen. So whatever you get this season, you get it. I'm over you, Mia. Over you. Just about as over Miss Robin over here. Oh, Robin with her stale self. With her stale self. Okay, Robin keeps saying, I don't care what the ladies are saying, because she's mad that her and Juan's scheme got exposed. I don't think she's actually mad that Juan is sleeping with other people. Because I think she's sleeping with other people. I think they have an agreement. I think Juan and Robin at this point are like brother and sister. It's like familial. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like when married people become roommates? I think it's more like that. They literally grew up together. They were like in middle school and high school together, literally grew up together. They clearly are not in romantic love with each other. And I think that she wants just to keep, I think they both just want to keep in an appearance of a family unit for their kids, just to have both mother and dad in the house. And then before they got exposed, it was all for optics. You know, I think Juan wanted to be the husband and the father because he was, you know, professional basketball coach. Robin wanted a storyline, you know, second chance at love, new wedding with Juan for the show. And it was all for show. It was all for optics and smoke and mirrors and for reputation. And it was a look until they got exposed. I think she's more pissed that their plan got blown up than she is that he's out here dipping it and doing it with, you know, Michael Darby and all these other people. You see what I'm saying? Now, Juan is so disrespectful. I can't with Juan. I can't. Because what he is saying, when he says, I don't care about the rumors, when she clearly does, and it's actually making her look bad. Because unfortunately, sometimes when the man cheats and it's so public, the man looks bad, but it's the wife who looks stupid. You know what I mean? Like, she's looking real stupid. And that is so embarrassing, even though it's not right. I'm not saying that this is a right thing. But with our institutional misogyny, with, you know, just, you know, how our society works, when the man cheats and it's public, sure, the man looks bad, but the wife looks stupid. And so that's really what she's saying. She's like, you're out here making me look stupid. And he's saying, I don't care, which what he actually means is, I don't care about you. I don't respect you enough to care about what these people say about you. I don't love you enough to move differently in these streets. So when he is actually, his words are, I don't care about the rumors. I don't care about what people say. But the energy is, I don't care enough about you to change who I am. So I'm not out here making you look stupid. I don't care enough about you to not be caught in a nail salon with another woman. I don't care enough about you to not be caught at a laundry mat with another woman. I don't care enough about you to not be caught in a hotel room with another woman. That is what he is basically saying to you. I don't care enough about you to respect you in the most bare minimist way. Because the truth is, the only person who is disrespecting and stealing Robin's joy is Juan. That's what he really means when he says, I don't care. I don't care enough about you to protect you in these streets. And it's really, 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 really sad. Really sad. I agree with you, Amy. Amy says she is raising future husbands who are being shown a picture of marriage that is so bad. 100%. 100%. Because children, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. That's why it's not called talking. It's called modeling. You model behavior to your children. You could talk to your children till you're blue in the face about something, but how they see daddy treating mommy, how they see mommy treating daddy, how they see daddy treating himself, how they see mommy treating herself, that is what they're going to mimic. That is what they are going to repeat in their own lives. Because children model their behavior after you. And you're right. People say, we're staying in this marriage for the kids. Why? So you can mess them up and you can mess them up in the head? If it's healthier to be apart, that is better for the children than to stay in a very toxic situation. Because even the kids look like they weren't buying it at their little, Hawaii, Bermuda, wherever the hell they went wedding. The kids were sitting there like, why are we doing this? They were looking like mommy and daddy are lying because the kids are smart. They have a thing called the internet. They have a thing called intuition. The kids are in the house. They hear everything. They see everything. They're not dumb. They're not done. Juan looked at her basically and was just like, I don't really care enough about you to not have you be embarrassed out in these streets. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of shade, but I'm going to preface it for my candy canes and my new candy canes. Anytime we talk about, sexuality or any of that stuff, we are inclusive. So straight people get the shade, gay people get the shade, pansexual people get the shade, trans people get the shade. Because here we believe humans are humans and love is love and everyone is equal and the same. Did you guys catch when Juan was like, I love my guys hard and they love me back? I was like, I bet they do. How you doing, Juan? How you doing? Now let me stop. But we love everyone here. Now, on the flip side of that, as much as Robin is annoying and whatever, I do wonder if she is still struggling with her depression. Because, last season she was talking about, very similar to Gordon, not being able to get out of bed, feeling very lethargic, going through the pandemic and just not feeling like herself. And to us, it was pretty obvious that she was going through, some form of depression. Again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but I don't think it's that big of a leap to understand that some people do go through depressive moments in their lives. We all have. Everybody has. I've been depressed. You've been depressed. Everybody's been depressed. If you are a human being breathing on this planet, at some point in your life, you have felt depressed. Doesn't mean that you have clinical depression, but at some point, you're going to go through it. It's just a part of the human experience. And if you think you've never been depressed, you need to sign up with a therapist ASAP because that's a bigger sign of a problem. Okay? But here we go. Do we think she's still a little bit in denial about it? I mean, she's in denial, she's sad, and she's numbed out. They were saying that she was, quote, indifferent, but I don't think she's indifferent. I think she's numbed out to it. I think that she is afraid that if she actually taps into her anger, she's not going to be able to turn the anger off. So it's not that she's indifferent. It's not that she actually doesn't care. I actually think she cares so much that she has to be numb to it because she's afraid to actually feel it. You know what I'm saying? I think that she is angry. I do think that she is embarrassed. I think that she feels disrespected. I think she feels like a clown. I think she's still feeling depressed. And I think that her indifference is just a mask to the denial and the numbing of it, because as much as not that I don't like Robin, I just think she doesn't really give anything, it's not like a personal thing. I still feel compassion towards her because I can't imagine what it feels like to be in her situation, where you're lying about the state of your life. You are being clowned every other day, yes, a lot of it is her own fault. She agreed to the charade. She agreed to the lie. She agreed to the fake relationship. I get it. I get it. I get it. A lot of it's her own fault. But I still feel a bit of compassion toward her as a human being. You know what I'm saying? And so I wonder if a lot of how she's reacting to this is from a place of numbness. Because I think she's actually, that's why, and that's another reason why, if you noticed, the theme of what her and Juan kept talking about was, oh, they want you to be angry. They want you to be mad. And, get mad at me, get mad at me. And she was so flat. And I think the reason why the theme was get angry and get mad, because that's the one thing she's not allowing herself to actually feel and do, is to be mad and to get angry and to say, you know what, my life is not what I thought it was going to be. You know what, I'm actually not happy. You know what, I'm tired of being embarrassed and looking stupid as hell out here in these streets. I'm tired of being fake married to a man who clearly does not love me. I'm tired of worrying about my sons, watching this fake relationship. I bet you she's very tired. I bet you she's very, 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 very angry. And so this whole indifference, I don't care, is very, very scary to me, because I think the people who are the angriest, like truly the angriest, are the people who pretend like they're not. And that's very, very scary. Very, 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 very scary. I think it's going to take one match, one moment, one something to poof, to all of that anger is just going to come pouring out. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's it's an absolute lot. And she's also always defending him. Like Miss T said, I was shocked what she said after the reasons surrounding his termination from the college. Yeah, that's another thing. She's probably tired of defending Juan all day. We all read the press releases. We all read, the documents about the lawsuit and the sexual allegations and all of that stuff going on. And she's still trying to defend him. He did the best he could. He did everything right and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm just too friendly and I just put people above myself. And she's like, yeah, I do too. Like, just psycho stuff. Super psycho stuff. Like, this is the thing. The response that Mia had about questioning Gordon, whether or not he was embezzling, is the response Robin should have had about Juan's involvement in a sexual assault allegation against a student at the university that he was having. His involved in like the cover up of it, right? Not that he was the one who did it, but that he was involved in the cover up of it, right? That's basically why he was in the lawsuit. And then he got fired because he was bringing too much. In my opinion, I think they fired him not because he was involved in the lawsuit, but they fired him because his wife is a public figure and it brought too many eyes. It brought too much smoke, too much media attention to the lawsuit in the university. Because unfortunately, these lawsuits against any type of university or corporation or industry entity are a dime a dozen. It's really, really sad how often people are abused and hurt and it's covered up. The difference is this one got the smoke because she's on the show. And I think that's why they fired him, because they didn't want all of the media attention, all of the scrutiny that comes along with it. And that's why he got fired. I think if he had not been in the public eye, it just would have been another lawsuit, another cover up, another payoff. That's why I think he really got fired. They didn't want the smoke. But if I were Robin, in those situations where it comes to, were you participating in the cover up of a child, of a student being, I know the kid's like, in college or whatever, but he's still a kid. All of that stuff, like, were you involved in that? That's when I would have questions. That's when I would be like, let's talk about this. That's when I would be like, what's going on? Like, The way Mia was up against Gordon, that's how Robin needs to be about Juan. But she just sounded like a wound-up doll. He did the best he could. He did everything right. He is amazing. He had nothing to do with this. He just puts everybody above himself. Juan is amazing. Juan is great. Juan is a god. I love Juan. He's so amazing. It was just like freaking like blink twice, Robin, if like you need help. Like, what is going on? What is going on? It was so crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But that's what I think is going on here. I think that she is just I think she's super angry. I think she feels very embarrassed, humiliated that everything got exposed. But Robin, the only person who can save you in this situation is yourself. You need to get honest about what is going on in your life, your quote marriage, your quote situation. And we all know Juan's name is not on that house. I stand by my theory. I think that Robin and her parents paid for that house, and that's why only Robin's name is on the house. That's, you know what I'm saying? Robin needs to get through it. Like, Robin really needs to just get real. Now let's talk about her ding dong sidekick, Jazelle. Okay, Jazelle talking about her fake sex life with her for-hire boyfriend Jason, is cringy. I can't do an entire season of Jazelle playing in our faces like she is in a sexual relationship with Jason. Number one, Jason, I don't think he would be good in bed. He looks very corny, very, very corny. Like, I don't think he would be, good in bed. He doesn't look like it. And also, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Jason, in my opinion, is not into Black women. And I know Jazelle is, green-eyed bandit. She's still Black. I don't think he's into Black women. I don't see it for Jason. I don't see it for him. And I think it's just really weird and bizarre. And it's almost like thou dost protest too much. The more you're talking about, oh, this young thing I'm having sex with, this sex is amazing. And, oh, I'm so wide open. It's like, yeah, we all know you're lying. You're lying. Because people who are really having it and it's fun, you don't talk about it a lot. You just have like a glow. You have a bounce. Her talking about it all the time to me is more proof that you're lying and this is a fake relationship and it's for photo ops and it's for BravoCon and it's for like a storyline. I don't believe that for 1 second. Okay. Again, you guys know how I feel about same sex, but when Jazelle was like, I like vaginas, I was like, and I bet you do. Because there were allegations about her and Robin. They did spend a lot of time together. They like sharing hotel beds. No tea, no shade. Do what you gotta do, girl. Get in where you fit in. As we say here, love is love. We don't discriminate. Whatever you love, we love. All good. But I thought it was like funny. Now, Jazelle saying that Karen should apologize to Robin. I was like, Jazelle, you lost your damn mind. You're reaching. But Karen is very gracious and was like, okay, well, if I get an apology, I'll apologize. And I'll tell you why Karen is so gracious is because Karen, to me, is so emotionally intelligent that she has compassion and pity for the rest of the women. She knows Robin is in a lot of pain and is struggling. She knows that Juan is out here for the streets and that how painful and embarrassing that must be for Robin. And unlike some of the other women, Karen doesn't want to actually tear people down. You know what I mean? And the only reason why Karen brought up the Georgetown woman was because Robin kept saying that she knew that Karen was cheating on Ray. And Karen had enough. And Robin was like, oh, you're fake, Karen. You're hiding all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. What's going on with you and Ray? Because that was the catalyst, remember, to Mia being like, oh, well, this is what I heard about Karen cheating. Mia didn't just come out of the clear blue sky with that. It had been an entire season of that. Because last season, it was very much Robin versus Karen a lot. And Karen had enough. And that's when Karen came out and said, well, Juan's with the Georgetown girl and she looks like me. But Karen only said that because she had enough. And so I think that Karen is able to see people for who they are and where they're actually at. Because when you have emotional intelligence and you can see someone who is hurting, who is in a bad place, who is acting out, who is clearly miserable in their own lives, you're able to not take their BS personally. And you can say, you know what? You got a lot going on with you, and I'm not going to take that on. You know what? You see what I'm saying? So there's that. And then, like I said before, you can feel the tension between her and Robin building and brewing. I think they will have like a bit of a falling out, but it's only going to be like a moment. And then I think they'll quickly make amends. I think they're back to being friends. They have the Reasonably Shady podcast together. And I also think Robin is going to realize that Jazelle was going after me because she had to keep her check at Bravo. Because again, the only reason why I think Jazelle is asking all of these questions to Robin is because the producers made her. And she knew she had to fall in line or she could be replaced. And she wanted to save her spot on the show. And I think Jazelle is probably going to tell her that off camera, obviously, not on camera. And I think they're going to have a bit of a falling out, but they'll quickly become friends again. That's what I think is going to happen. And yeah, Jazelle, dry, stale, boring. You know, what else is new? What else is good? Girl, bye. Okay. Now let's move on to Miss Messy Lying Ashley. Ashley is hard to watch because she's obviously lying about her entire life, her marriage to Michael and her new home. Like I said before, I do not think her and Michael will ever get divorced. I don't even think they plan to get divorced. My conspiracy theory was basically confirmed. I mean, it was always confirmed, but now it was really confirmed this episode, okay? Number one, didn't we say that Michael is suing Candice because her allegations affected his business? And that's exactly what Ashley said this episode, that it affected his business. And that's why he was suing her. Because people were like, oh, people have said stuff, like everybody's made accusations against Michael. Everybody has said stuff. Yeah, but the difference is this. People have talked about Michael being a cheater. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, sure, it might be a little uncouth. It might be a little bit of a if someone's caught cheating. But Candice took it way farther than that. She said that he was paying for sex with men. That's illegal. In our country, in my opinion, unfortunately, prostitution is illegal. You know, there's been rumors about his sexuality, you know, touching men's butts and, you know, all of that stuff, and him and Juan. But those have all been very innuendo. Those have been sort of, you know, speculation. No one's come out and said that firmly on the show about that. There's been, you know, little like shade here. You know, he touched the production guy's butt. Did that happen? Did that not? You know, Monique conveniently lost the footage of it at her house. You know, all of that stuff. We've all sort of clowned about him and Juan flirting and stuff, but nobody's ever taken it to the level that Candice did. You know, that's a very different thing. It's one thing to be in the business world and be accused of cheating on your wife. It's another thing to be in the business world and be accused of soliciting sex from men. You see what I'm saying? These are two very different things. Now, I'm not saying that I believe it or I think it's true, or I don't believe it or I don't think it's true. I personally don't care. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care if you pay for sex as long as it is consensual and safe. I personally don't care. People live your life. Live your life every single day as long as you are safe, as long as it's consensual. Live your life and do what you want to do. I personally could care less. I think that Candice took it too far. I do. I really, really do think she took it too far with that one. I do. Now, when Ashley says that she doesn't know anything about the court case, she's lying. I think she knows everything about the court case, but she's smart enough to say she doesn't on camera. She doesn't want to be subpoenaed, right? She doesn't want to be subpoenaed by Candice's other side, the lawyers being like, well, what do you know about this situation? And B, she doesn't want anything that she says on camera to be turned around and used against Michael in court. So that's why she's playing dumb. I don't know anything. He doesn't tell me. Girl, Ashley knows every single in and out of what is going on in that lawsuit. She knows. She knows what's going on there. Now, the other conspiracy theory that has been confirmed is that Ashley and Michael's game plan was always Michael's reputation rehab tour. I said this last season. I said this whole separation between her and Michael is fake, that he doesn't want to be on the show anymore because he was getting too much smoke. And he has all of his money and all of his investments and all of his businesses and all of his business relationships to worry about. And Michael basically was just like, I'm not going down over this little Bravo show because he has real money. And this little play money, to quote Monique, this little play check, this little play money is nothing to him. And he's like, I'm not about to go down because of this show. And I think that him and Ashley got together. Like I said, last season, got together and said, let's say we're separating. So that way we don't have to talk about you on the show and you don't have to film. I can still have my 15 minutes of fame on Bravo. I can still get this Bravo check and feel relevant, all of that stuff. And you can go off and do you. And then they had that press release that when they were going to announce the split, right? Saying that, it's amicable, they love each other, it's grown perfect ways. It was a very glowing, loving press release. But this is the gag. The fact that her and Michael, quote, separated got leaked, remember? And then all of the bloggers and the writers and the newspaper were like, oh, it must be because he's been cheating. He was caught with the woman in the hotel, all of this stuff. Michael's horrible, the sexual assault allegations. It must be all of that, blah, 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 blah. And they ran with it and it made him look horrible. And remember, she was on the phone. This was last season in the car, and she was like, Michael's not talking to me. He's so mad. He won't pick up the phone. I can't believe this got leaked. We had the press release together. And I said it was supposed to be because they were trying to do reputation rehab for Michael to get him back in the good graces of all of his business partners and being in that, quote, world, right? Now, what happened this episode? It was nothing but Michael reputation rehab tour. She's talking to her mother with their very, very scripted scene. And like, oh, co-parenting is going great. He's amazing. Yeah, we were just friends on vacation. It was great. We went to the Bahamas and we were friends and he didn't try anything. He was so respectful and amazing. And then her mom was like, yeah, I remember Michael got on the phone and was like, hi, how are you? And he was being so amazing and he was being so respectful. It's awesome. Yay! It was pretty much a PSA. It was a promo commercial for Michael's reputation. He's the most amazing father and co-parent. He's the most amazing son-in-law. He's so respectful. Everything's going great. I was like, see, this is what they were trying to do last season, but because it got leaked, it put a wrench in their plans. And the new house she is in is nothing but a house for her and the boys to film in because he don't want the cameras in his little bachelor pad. So he bought her a house for her and the boys to film in. That's what that's going on. That is basically a prop house. Sure, he bought it. Sure, they own it. But I think that's just a house for her to film in. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was crazy. But they're doing now what I predicted they were trying to do last season. Like now, all of a sudden, the mom is how respectful Michael is. And then also, again, thou dost protest too much. We didn't have sex in the Bahamas. He didn't even try. Okay, well, if you didn't have sex and he didn't try, why are you talking about it? Who asked you? Who cares? You're making sure to get it on camera. You're making sure to get each bullet point. It was so obvious that Ashley and her mother clearly got together and was like, you need to make this point, this point, this point, and this point about Michael and our relationship. Clear as freaking day. Ashley got new boobs, guys. Like I said before, I don't think she's divorcing Michael. Now, did you peep in this episode? She said that only her name is on the deed of the house. But last episode, she said that Michael's name is on the mortgage. But what happened to like the LLC buying the home? Didn't she say that they were going to get an LLC to buy the home? More lies, more lies. At the end of the day, I don't care whose name is on the deed or the mortgage. I am pretty sure that the house is Michael Darby's. I am pretty sure that Michael Darby is paying the bill. And I am pretty sure that all of this is for show because she's lying all the time. It was an LLC. Now her name is on the deed. He's paying the mortgage. Blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, Michael is a very savage and savvy businessman. So whatever is going on, at the end of the day, I can pretty much guarantee the house is his. The house is his. You see what I'm saying? So, girl. Now, okay. Oh, okay. Now let's talk about, I'm going to fast forward to the end of the episode where it's Ashley and Wendy and they're talking. Okay. It is so clear on Ashley's face that she does not like Wendy. She has a little bit of disdain for her. However, when Wendy was opening up and being so nice and being like, like, I want to thank you, Ashley. Like you've always been like so diplomatic or, whatever the hell Wendy was saying. Wendy was basically like, you've always been really kind to me and you've always been very neutral. And I want you to say, and I want to be able to say like, Ashley's my girl, but like, I'm worried that you're going to like backstab me, after everything that happened with like the Eddie rumors and all of that stuff. Right. So Wendy's being very vulnerable and she's like, I like you, Ashley. And like, thank you for being, neutral to me. But I'm obviously, concerned that you're going to backstab me because of what has happened in the past. And then you can see Ashley's whole energy and body change because I think in her mind she felt guilty because what Wendy was saying is exactly what she had already done. She had already, prior to this conversation, was stabbing Wendy in the back. She had already set up with Nneka for Nneka to be the one to go after Wendy. She had already had the conversations with Nneka about Oshu, and I'll talk about that when we get to Wendy's slide. She'd already set that up. She'd already kind of put the bug and the battery in Nika's back to go against Wendy, which to me is just so clear and so obvious, clear as day, to go against her. All of that stuff. And I think on Ashley's face, because I do think Ashley has a good heart. She's messy as hell. She will lie in a second and all of that stuff. But I don't think at her core, she's an evil person. I just think she's a very messy as hell person who's not to be trusted. But I don't think she's like evil or anything. And I think that she felt guilty. And that's why she started spewing out everything. She's like, oh, okay, well, since you said that, well, then I have to tell you, like, I did have a conversation with Nneka, and she said that you and your family was like Osu or something, and you guys were like cursed, and she said that, like you guys were blah, 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 and Wendy was just like, whoa, okay, well, it's, it's an outcast, and that's not us. I think Ashley felt very guilty because Wendy, unbeknowingly, was calling her out on her BS and on her strategy. Ashley had already set up for Wendy to take the fall with Nneka. And then that's why Ashley was like, oh, well, like, we don't really hang out. I don't get to know you. We don't do like mom stuff. And Wendy was like, well, no, I invited you to Carter's birthday and you didn't come. And Ashley's like, you're right, I didn't come. And that's why I didn't get invited anymore. And she's like, yeah, but like, let's do stuff. So I think that when Ashley saw that Wendy was actually coming to her in a vulnerable way, being like, hey, like, I like you. And like, I want us to hang out and do mom stuff. And I've invited you to things. I think Ashley started to feel bad that she had already set Wendy up. And that's why she started to spill everything coming out. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really what was happening with her. And she was like, oh man, I've been here talking crap about you on camera. That's why we have the flashback. So it's not like Ashley and Nneka privately were having these conversations about Wendy's family. They were doing it on camera. That's why we had the flashback. That's why we have the footage. So that's how you really know she was really setting Wendy up, because it was all already caught on camera. And so since she knew it was caught on camera and she felt bad because Wendy was coming to her in a vulnerable way, that's when she started regurgitating everything out, because she was trying to get ahead of it, because she felt bad that she was already setting Wendy up. Because as Robin said it last season on Watch Happens Live, I didn't want to be the target. And that's what these women do. They set people up as targets instead of having their own life and being interesting in their own way. They set out to target other women on the cast to take them down so you don't look at them. And so Ashley knew that Wendy was set up to be the target, but in that moment, she felt guilty. And that's why she told it. See what I'm saying? Okay. Here we go. Now let's move on to Wendy. Dr. Wendy Osefo, girl, I like you. You've grown on me. I can't lie. You have. However, you are also another Dorit and another Whitney. Ding Dong Dorit, obviously, of Beverly Hills, and, Weird Whitney of Salt Lake City. What I mean by that is these are housewives who have a new brand every single season without any consistency. Where is your candle line? Where is the home decor? You're supposed to be the new black Martha Stewart, right? I'm confused. It's these housewives that come out every season with a new product, a new brand, and then they disappear the next season, and they're on to some new brand or product. But what happened to the first one? Every single season, it's something new. And Wendy, isn't your talk show just another podcast and YouTube channel? Like, I'm going to start a talk show. In 2023, talk shows are called podcasts, boo-boo. They're called YouTube channels. They're called podcasts. Until you're on a network, it's not a talk show. It's a podcast. And that is no tea, no shade. Exactly, Chocolate Chunks. What about the bar lounge? What about all that stuff? Again, every season, it's a different event. It's a different venture. It's a different brand without any consistency. Sure, she's consistent with being a professor, because I do think she does that, and that brings in her actual check. But other than that, there's no consistency. But girl, don't say you're starting a talk show. It's be honest. You're starting a podcast, and that's fine. I have a podcast. You guys should actually listen to it. It's called The Soft Life. It's all about wellness and self-care and self-love, manifestation, healthy relationships. It's great. I love it. But it's a podcast. It's not a freaking talk show. It's a podcast, okay? So just call a thing, Wendy. You're starting a new podcast, which is great. I think you should. I think everybody should have a podcast if they want to. No problem. No big deal. But it's not a talk show. I was loving the shade when she walked into Ashley's housewarming party, right? When she returned the no hello and the no hug shade to Jazelle. Because do you remember, put on your candy cane hats, do you remember episode 1 of last season when I think was it Karen's anniversary party or something like that? Karen's spring party, I think it was. When Wendy came to the spring party and she went to give Jazelle a hug, and Jazelle said no. And she sort of gave her the hand and walked away and was like, no, I'm not hugging her. So why would you expect Wendy to speak to you now, Jazelle, after you treated her like she was a piece of crap on the floor? She went in to hug you, and you literally scoffed away from her. You guys remember? It was episode 1 at Karen's spring party of last season. So, girl, bye. She's just giving you what you got. Tit for tat with this one. We can be petty all day long. Tit for tat. I'm giving what you give, and that's what it is. And yeah, why would she, be nice to Mia when Mia threw a drink in her face and tried to bop her with her purse? I wouldn't be trying to touch you either if you assaulted me. No, thank you, ma'am. Stay over there, messy Mia. Freaking, disrespecting your husband. Justice for Gordon. Justice for Gordon. Ugh. Okay. Also love the confessional shade to Cookie Monster Deborah. Deborah to me is worse than Charisse. Why? Why? Why does she have to come? Why does she have to be on my TV screen? Why does she have to be at events? Like, Ashley, stop trying to make Candice happen. Like, stop. You yourself are messy enough. You yourself is a mouthpiece enough. Stop delegating your crap to your friends who just want screen time. Deborah cannot be a housewife, please. If she becomes one, I'm out. We just gonna focus on the other cities. I'm out. I don't think Deborah should be there. I don't like her. She's weird. She's weird. Okay. Now let's talk about Oshu versus Oshun. Now, this is a disclaimer. I do not have any experience or knowledge, or this isn't my religion or anything like that. So if I'm just doing what I know from Google, okay? This is just Google searches and certain videos I've watched on this stuff. I am Christian, okay? So I'm saying that because I don't want to act like I am an expert in somebody else's culture or somebody else's religion or in somebody else's belief. I am not. I am a Christian. So what I'm getting is from the internet, Google, just like everybody else, okay? Now, this is the question I had. Are they confusing Oshu with Oshun? Because, and I'm going to tell you what I found out and let me know what you guys think, okay? So the way Ashley explained it to Wendy was that there was either some article about this, and then Nneka was like, yeah, she's Oshu. And then that's why her family is shunned. And that's why, her husband's family doesn't talk to her. And Wendy was like, no, we're not Oshu. That's like a caste system. It's a caste system. And that they are the untouchables. They're kind of like on the low part. They are considered outcasts. They get ignored. They're not allowed to be a part of regular society, right? Those are the outcast of it. That's Oshu. It's a part of a caste system. And they're saying that would explain why, because Eddie's family apparently comes from a higher caste. You know how we have the class system in America? This is the caste system over there. CASTE, the caste system. His family comes from a higher caste. So the fact that he married beneath his caste, they're saying that's why his family doesn't accept Wendy. And that's why him and Wendy and their family is shunned by them, because they are Oshu. They are outcast. They are supposed to be beneath the caste system. Wendy is saying, no, that has been abolished. We're not Oshu. We have birthday parties, we've had weddings, and you've seen them, and people come, and we're dressed in the garb, the traditional Nigerian garb, and we're having fun. She's like, if we were the Oshu, like, no one would come. It would be totally different. She's like, no, we're not Oshu. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I got it wrong, because I thought it was Oshun they were talking about. But then in the promos we see, Nneka is saying Oshun, which is saying that Wendy's mother had called, I think it was her husband's cousin or something like that. And it was said that Wendy's mother was being weird and was saying that she had a shrine. Now, when you have a shrine to the goddess or the deity Oshun. And that's different from Oshu. Oshun is the goddess or the deity of like love, beauty, fertility, water, the river. This is the goddess that Beyonce worships and that Summer Walker worships. And I'm only saying that because that's what's out there literally on the Googler. Beyonce's Lemonade album is basically a complete homage to the goddess Oshun. When she's wearing the yellow, when she gets reborn in the water. Also in her lyrics, she says, I have Oshun energy. So this is coming from Beyonce herself with her own lyrics and with her own visual aesthetics. This isn't me making this up. All you have to do is Google it. Summer Walker also posted on her Instagram or TikTok her actual shrine to the goddess Oshun. And this is witchcraft. I'm not putting any judgment on this, whatever. I'm just telling you what it is. It's witchcraft. You know, they do sacrifices, they do shrines. So I was like, wait a minute. Are they being accused of being Oshu, the outcast? Or are they being accused of worshiping Oshun, the deity, basically practicing witchcraft? Which is why in the promos, Wendy then says, no, me and my family pray to Jesus Christ. We pray to Jesus. And then you have that clip of Wendy's mom, I think, blessing something or giving a prayer, and she says, in Jesus' name. Which makes sense, because if you're just saying she's Oshu, an outcast, that has nothing to do with your religious beliefs. That's societal, where you stand within society. You know, what is your class in society? What is your caste in society? That's more about, you know, money, reputation, status, and stature. Oshu is more about where you stand in the social class. Oshun is more about your religious beliefs. Are you practicing witchcraft, you know, worshiping a goddess, a deity, doing sacrifices to a shrine for them? So they're two different things. So that's what I was confused about. I was like, what exactly is Wendy and her family being accused of? Maybe they're confused on it. Maybe it's both. So I'm interested to see the upcoming episodes if that clears up, because I was confused on that. To me, it seems like both. It seems like they're saying that, you know, Wendy's family is Osu. They are a lower class, and that's why Eddie's family shuns them, because they are a lower caste. And also saying that they are doing this witchcraft, voodoo, worshiping this goddess, shrine, deity. And that's why Wendy was like, no, we're not Oshu. We're not outcasts. We've had all of these events and everybody has come. And no, we're not Oshun. We worship Jesus. So I think it's all going to come out. Again, I am not an expert on these religions or belief systems or caste systems. This is just what I learned from the internet. So I just want to put that out there, because I'm Christian. So I don't have any shrines. I don't believe in any God other than God. So yeah, but it's sort of like that, right? So there it is. Chai says, never a good idea to try and explain other cultures and belief based on just Google. Whose perspective is this? No, I think it's fine. I think that's what it's about. It's about learning about other cultures. It's about, you know, reading on other things. That's what I'm saying. I think it's good to have conversation in other cultures and other things, like in other religions. And the perspective on this is during research. That's how you research in 2023. I don't think anybody's going to go to a library and get a book on it. You're going to Google it. You're going to read excerpts from it. You're going to read, you know, things online. You're going to watch videos on this. That's how you research in 2023. And also, this is what is being said on the show. I'm not making any of this up. If you watch the show, this is what they're saying. So I'm not sitting here making up something about somebody else's culture. I'm repeating what they said. And then I did supplemental research so I can understand what's going on. So, Wendy, girl, do not trust Ashley. She had already set you up for the okie doke. She had already set you up. And then bringing Cookie Monster, Deborah, to the scene, knowing that Deborah was like, oh, happy Eddie. Like, Eddie can't smile at people. Like, you've never seen a man smile at you before. Girl, he wasn't checking for you, okay? He was probably thinking about something else and just had a smile on his face. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. But I do think Ashley really exposed herself in the conversation she had with Wendy, and she started to feel bad because she knew she had set her up. And that's why she started to, and it was a little bit of throwing Nneka under the bus. Like, let's put this, that Nneka was saying this, not that I was meddling. That's why the producer said to Ashley, well, you know, you made it sound like Nneka was talking crap about Wendy. And Ashley was like, oh, I did? Yeah, it was the tequila. because I think Ashley was the ringleader, obviously, because Nneka's going to come in and she's going to do whatever Ashley tells her to do because she's the new girl. Ashley was the one who brought up the article. Ashley was the one who asked Nneka about it. And so I think Ashley was trying to distance herself from it by putting the onus on Nneka. You see? So, yeah. Whew. All right. Now let's move on to our girl, Candy Pants Candice. Okay. So Candice is on the hunt for yet another label. Okay, girl. But she looks great, though. I think Candice looks really good. I think she looks the best this season I've ever seen her. I think she looks really, really good. But the reason why I think she's on the hunt for another label is because I think that the label isn't giving her any monetary backing. And I think that's why she's saying, I need to go to a bigger label, is because I think what she really means is I need to go to a label who's going to fund my tours and who is going to fund my musical career. I think the what do you call it? I think the music label she's at right now, Monarch, I think they brought her on thinking that her being on the show would carry her and thinking that her being on the show would be a come up for them. Since I had never heard of Monarch, not that I'm in the music industry or anything, but I never heard of it. So I think that they thought her being on the show, them getting their episode in where she signs with them would be a come up for them. You know, we're talking about them. We know their name now. And that her being on the show would carry her. But I think she's tired of paying, like she said, 6 figures for her own tours and her own whatever, you know, the wigs and the costumes and the dancers and the makeup and the hotel rooms and the travel and the food. I feel like she's footing the bill. And so that's why she wants to find another label who's going to foot the bill, because that's kind of the reason why you sign with a label, is so you're not independent. It sounds like Candice is independent, but signed to a label. Because when you're independent, you pay for everything yourself. But when you sign to the label is supposed to bear the brunt of your marketing expenses. And your tour is only one big marketing campaign. That's what a tour is. It's a huge marketing campaign, right? I need some water there, you guys. So that's what I think is going on with Candice. But I don't think she wanted to come out and say that. But I think that's what's going on with her. Now, I have a question. Is Candice and Drew beefing? Like, why? Like, Drew, let me put it this way. Drew Sidora, to me, she's a little bit corny. Like, I'm not like a Drew Sidora girly. Like, she's a little corny to me. I'm happy she's finally divorcing her husband because he was toxic and narcissistic as hell. But Drew herself, to me, she's a little corny. She's a little corny, right? But I didn't know why Candice was going at her like that. And I was like, are you jealous? Because they're both singers, they're both housewives, they're both actresses. And to me, it was really disappointing that Candice would see her as competition rather than as a collaborator. Because as corny as Drew is, I do think Drew is very kind-hearted. I do think she really is a collaborator. I do think she's a supporter. Drew to me is not a hater on anybody by any means. I think she's genuinely nice, a bit boring, a bit corny, but she's a nice person. You know, Drew doesn't really hate on anybody like that. And it seemed to me like Candice was hating on her. Like, well, I sold out myself, and so I don't need anybody to help me sell tickets. So when we go to Chicago, let's book the other person. Like, I don't need to do anything else with Drew musically. And I'm kind of like, did something happen behind the scenes that we don't know? Is there a behind the scenes beef going on that we don't know? Like, I'm super confused. Like, why did you need that conversation on camera? Because I don't think any conversation that these people have with their so-called assistants, with their mothers and their daddies, and even their kids sometimes, are not scripted. These are not just, oh my gosh, you know, my assistant happened to pop by and we're having a completely authentic, candid conversation about what's going on, and I didn't plan this at all. Absolutely not. All these conversations these people are having, They have been scripted. I don't mean they have a script. I mean that they have been briefed. Like, yo, mom, you need to hit these notes. You need to hit these key messages. Hey, baby girl, I need you to come on. Like Monica on Salt Lake City. I think she 100% coached and prepped and scripted her kids to all of a sudden now be so scared of their grandmother. When the entire season, the kids and their grandmother had a very loving relationship. People will come out here and use their kids for storylines. It's dirty. We've seen it before with other housewives using their kids to create a false narrative. So I don't know why Candice felt the need to script that scene going so hard for Drew Sidora. Like, I just don't see Drew being messy like that. And that was a little disheartening. If you don't want to work with Drew anymore, don't work with her. But what was the need for the shade? Because unfortunately, I watched the last season of Atlanta. I don't know why I wasted my life doing that. Never again, Atlanta. I'm out. But I remember when Drew got the call that she was gonna, be on stage with Candice, and Drew was so excited. She was like genuinely like humble and grateful and excited and like wanted to do it. Candice is my girl, blah, 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 blah. So why are you being so nasty towards her? Like, these are the moments where I'm like, Candice, I want to like you, but you make it really, really hard. Like, you make it really hard, girl. Now, the rest of the group, except for Karen and Wendy, to me, are clearly trying to get Candice off the show. You know how they say, if no one will film with you, you get fired. I think they're trying to ice Candice out. I think they want her off the show. Now, let's talk about, is there trouble in Chris and Candice's marriage? I think there is. I think it started before the Jazelle and Ashley allegations, but I think that was kind of like icing, cherry, nail in the coffin. I think that they are living separate lives. I think Candice is on tour. She's dipping it and doing it. She's acting. She's singing. She's doing her thing. I think Chris is back in Potomac, doing whatever he does, cooking, baking, doing hotel stuff. I don't know what he's doing. I think they're living separate lives. I don't think that they're having a lot of sex. What happened to the baby talk? That sort of just stopped. There was really no conclusion to that. Weren't they trying to have a baby? Maybe I missed it. Did they talk about it last episode? Chris wasn't even in this episode. Did I miss it? Seemed like the whole them trying to have a baby conversation just went, no, it just kind of just stopped. It went silent. Do I believe the allegations about this woman who said that she was cheating with Chris, and we all know what she said happened, what went down. I don't believe that woman. She seemed a bit unhinged. She didn't seem like a valid source to me. I don't even think it's about cheating. I just think that they're not happy. I don't really even think it's about that. I think they're not happy. I think that Chris doesn't feel supported by Candice. And I think that Candice kind of wants a more, quote, successful man, if that makes sense. And I don't think that Chris feels supported by her. I just think they're not in a happy marriage. I don't think they're happy. That's what I really think is going on. I don't think it's about these weird people out here, saying all this stuff about Chris and all that stuff. I don't think it's that. I just think that they're not happy in their marriage. I think that they're in two different places. I don't think that I just think that they're just not happy. That's what I really think is going on. Okay. Now let's see what else. Oh yeah. I still believe Candice should retract the Michael sex allegation she said. Whether it's true or not, I think she should retract it. This is just me, how I think. When it comes to legal stuff like lawsuits and the police and lawyers and anything to do with our legal and judicial system, to me, the less is better. So why are you, and I said this on our last live, why are you continuing a lawsuit? To prove what, Candice? To prove what? Who cares? Even if you're telling the truth, who cares? Why are you wasting time, money, energy, and then being caught up in our legal system to prove a point? If I was Candice, you know what I would have said? I would have said, Michael, I'm sorry I repeated something that I heard. I apologize for that and I take it back. And then you keep on pushing and you keep it moving and you can do your fun shade and you can do whatever. But why are you wasting precious legal, time in our court system? That time and energy could go to somebody who actually needs it. I get people might be like, well, why is Michael suing? Everyone's talked about him. Why is he suing? Well, he's suing because her allegations, unfortunately, in our society are very detrimental to his bottom line. Whereas what she said about him does affect him negatively. And I'm not defending Michael. You know what I'm saying? I'm not defending him. I'm not a Michael apologist. Absolutely not. But I think for what they're being sued over, I personally side with Michael on this. She said something, true or not, on national, international television that really has been affecting this man's money and business, right? And when I say true or not, she didn't have any receipts. She just said, she was just saying all this stuff. And for her to continue the lawsuit, it's like, for what? On the flip side of that, if there was a lawsuit about something that had actually happened to her, like if he hit her, if there was a sexual something that without consent, you know what I'm saying? If there was something that he did to her business, if there was something that he did to her and she wanted to sue him, then yes, 100% you rock it till the wheels fall off. But to me, why would you continue a lawsuit against a man with endless pockets because you want to prove to the world that he's paying for sex with men? That to me, I don't get. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, I don't understand. And the thing is, if she had taken the high road, would our opinion change on whether or not she's telling the truth? No. Anybody who believes what she said would still believe it. Anybody who thought she was lying would still think she was lying. She would lose nothing, but she would have gained the upper hand because she took the high road. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the most gangster, the most G thing you can do is say, hey, you know what? I take accountability and let's squash it. And because you came with that energy of, taking the high road, squashing it, taking accountability, and just moving the F on, you gain so much respect for that. Very similar to Vanderpump Rules. Similar, but not, you know what I'm saying? When, what's her face? Rachel. When Rachel did the restraining order against Sheena, clogging up our system, taking precious resources from people who actually need it, then didn't even show up to court to continue the restraining order. Didn't even show up to court. Had Sheena paying all these legal fees to fight the case. Sheena showed up to court and she didn't, wasting time, wasting resources that could go to people who actually need it, like parents who are, fighting for custody of their kids, or, people who need certain type of resources, or people who are being abused and they really need restraining orders because they really are in danger. Very, very similar. Doing this frivolous crap in our system, taking away time, money, and resources from people who actually need it. It's disgusting. And Candice, you may have been telling the truth. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't. I wasn't in the room and I honestly don't care. But I think the mature thing and the Gist thing you could have done was just let it go and move on. You don't have to, who are you proving this to? And I think the only reason why Michael is taking it to court is because it really was affecting his businesses and his money. I think that if it wasn't actually affecting his money, I don't think he would have sued. You see what I'm saying? I think he would have been like, I don't really care about Candice. I'm going to go do what I want to do. But I think because it really was, because unfortunately in our society, you know what I'm saying? There are things when you have allegations about your sexuality, or if you pay for sex, or if you're cheating or whatever, it can have negative repercussions in certain circles with access to money, with investors, with, being the face of things with investments. Unfortunately, sometimes people aren't inclusive and understanding, and that can really hurt you in a business world. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying you should be punished or penalized because of that. I'm not saying that. But unfortunately, that does happen. And until we're able to eradicate homophobia and eradicate hypocrisy and eradicate ignorance, this is his way of protecting his money and his business. You see what I'm saying? Like, girl, let it frickin' go. And that's why Candice is her own worst enemy. Because Candice is just she's very intelligent, but she has no emotional intelligence. You can trigger her so easily. You can get her to go buck wild so easily because she doesn't have control of herself. And just because you're book smart and you're intelligent and you have a vocabulary that's a thesaurus, doesn't mean you have emotional intelligence, because any emotionally intelligent person would not need to prove that they are right regarding this particular situation. Because even if you are right, who cares who he sleeps with? As long as it's consensual and safe, who cares? Who cares? You see what I'm saying? All right, now let's move on to our newbie, Nneka. Okay, Nneka, here we go. Nneka, like I said from jump, she is definitely a production and Ashley plant to stir the pot, to go after Wendy as payback for all the colorist claims. That's really what I think. That's why they're talking about them both being from Nigeria. They're talking about Oshu. They're talking about Oshun. They're talking about this, that, and the third. And they're letting Nneka, Ashley started the conversation, but they let Nneka carry the conversation, because if Nneka is the one bringing these allegations to the show, what can Wendy say? She's Nigerian too. She's the same color too. So she's not going after you because of the color of your skin. She's not going after you because you're African. She's it too. So I definitely think she's a plant. And like I said on Ashley's and Wendy's slide, this is why Ashley looked so guilty when she was talking to Wendy, because Wendy said, I want to trust you. I want you to be my friend, but I'm worried you're going to stab me in the back. And she had already set into motion stabbing Wendy in the back, And that's why Ashley brought it up when talking about Wendy's family, the whole curse stuff. But like I just said, Nneka can say it because Nneka's from there, She's from there. She can say it. She can bring it up, Now, I really like her husband and I really like her new house. And I am looking forward to her motherhood journey. I always think it's really interesting when women share that part of their lives, whether it's IVF or, the old fashioned way or adopting. So I am looking forward to seeing her motherhood journey and sending lots of love and positivity, for that. However, her energy is annoying as hell. She needs to calm all the way down, and she's doing the absolute most, and she's coming in way too effing hot. Like, girl, relax. Like when they were doing the scene with her husband and the construction guy or the realtor guy, whoever he was in the house, I was like, what am I watching? Is this like a fake Black Paris Hilton? Like, what act am I seeing on the screen right now? It was very ditzy. It was very airheaded. It was over the top. I was like, girl, bring it down. Even the realtor was like, who are you? Because this is the thing. I don't think that is her authentic self. I think she was playing a part. She was playing a caricature, and it came in over the top. It came in over the fake and phony. It came in as doing the absolute most. It was just way, way, way too much. And I think that I would like her a lot more. And I kind of liked her more at Ashley's housewarming party because she was still confident. She was still, trying to be that girl, but it was much more grounded. It was much more calmer. It was much more, because the thing is, you can be over the top. You can be, whatever, into money and flashy and blah, 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 blah. But as long as it's grounded in authenticity, it's more likable. It lands better because you're actually just being yourself. But when you're doing it to be over the top and when you're doing it to be a caricature, it doesn't land. And her personality was not landing for me. But I do think the more she gets maybe just comfortable on camera or comfortable in the group or comfortable within herself, I still want her to be spicy and confident and all of that, but just be it in a grounded, authentic way. Because I want to get to know you, not this persona of you. She came in way too hot. She also needs to relax when it comes to shading Wendy. Girl, you don't even know her. Wendy was like, I've seen her in passing a couple times. And it's also very disappointing that and I don't know if this is colorist of me to say. I hope not. Don't come at me, you guys. I'm saying this from a place of love. It was also disappointing that not that Nneka and Wendy have to be friends because they both are from Nigeria, but it was a little bit disappointing that like she chose to come in out the gate going against the other Nigerian woman on the show. Very similar, and again, not that you just because they're Nigerian doesn't mean they have to be friends. And then also similar to Beverly Hills. It's also disappointing that Anne Marie out the gate is coming for what's her face? Crystal. Again, not that minorities have to be friends, but it's just sad when people that you think would have some sort of common ground. And I'm not saying all Black people have to be friends. I'm not saying only the same color people have to be friends. I'm obviously not saying that. But and also very similar to what I was saying about Candice and Drew. You know, they're both actors and singers and housewives. It's always sad to me when people who have such a commonality, who you think would have a lot to bond over and identify with, instead of seeing each other as friends and as collaborators and as like, let's have each other's back, they think, oh, you're the person I have to go against because you're too like me, or whatever the case is, or choosing Ashley's side already, because it is so obvious what is going on here. I could basically write out I could basically tell you what's going to happen for the rest of the season because it's that freaking obvious. Because it's too, like, the work is showing. These shows aren't even shows, like, they aren't even like shows anymore because you pretty much can predict exactly what's going to happen because it's so fake and scripted now. You know? And it's just sad to me. And obviously I'm not saying just because you're the same color you have to be friends. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's sad that they couldn't come together and bond over that commonality, if that makes sense. Right? So, yeah, it's kind of sad, but I've been up here running my mouth forever. So